You can't help but to look at this picture and just be like, that is such a beautiful baby. I'm going to just tell y'all, I'm very thankful that I was able to find this picture of this little angel, and to think that this baby was not shown the love and dedication that I think all babies deserve. I think is just beyond reprehensible. I think it is just something that needs to be punished for what these two people did. And I got to tell y'all, if y'all are sensitive about us talking about politics or talking about the things that happen to babies, then this might not be the channel for you. But here, we're going to speak up and give these babies a voice that they will never have. All right? So let's get into this. Let me give you a disclaimer about my channel, and then we're going to get this thing cracking. All right? Let's go. Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, news web articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer. One of my favorite sources for news is Law and Crime, so shout out to them. Thank you very much for this particular article. A Pennsylvania woman claimed that she dropped her 4-month-old daughter, leading to her injuries, but police alleged that her boyfriend beat the girl to death because she was apparently uninterested in caring for her. Wow. Jose Melendez Padilla, and I want y'all to remember his name. Let me see if I can get his face back up on the screen. That is actually his Facebook page. I think it's still up, but it was a little bit difficult to find, but I was able to find it. Jose MP. But again, his full name, actual government name from wherever the hell he's from, Jose Melendez, Melendez, Padilla, Padilla, 24 years old. And this woman, her name is Layla Saunders, Souders, 20 years old, stand accused of killing 4-month-old Kei'mani Saunders, which is the little baby. Let me see if I can pull that baby's face up on the screen, because it's such a beautiful little angel. So I was able to do better than those pictures right here. Look at that. Beautiful little angel. Kei'mani, Ioni, Saunders, Souders, 4 months old. The Susquehanna Township Police, however you say that, whatever, I can't pronounce it right, department said in a press release. Police responded to a call about an infant in cardiac arrest around 2:14 p.m. on March the 28th to an apartment in the 3200 block of Wakefield Road outside of Harrisburg. The girl was pronounced dead at the hospital. Now, according to a probable cause arrest affidavit, hashtag not another mom's boyfriend story. Yes. And I find this crazy, the fact that we've been doing these stories for years, and and I know people like this, maybe even her. She's probably watched my channel before. I know her age group doesn't watch my channel, but I'm pretty sure with all the views that we've gotten on this channel, all the videos that have gone out there, all the stories, you had to have heard our videos and how I excoriate mothers who are custodial parents and put their children in these horrible positions to be abused by their boyfriends, but then they go out of their way to make sure that the biological men, the biological parents of these kids, the dads, don't have custody, make it difficult for them, make their lives hell for even trying to be a part of the kids' lives, that otherwise you wouldn't have had this baby without that man. And I want y'all to think about how nasty and disgusting this woman is, for the fact that you have a 4-month-old baby who can't even speak words yet, can't walk, can't talk, can't fight, can't defend herself. At 4 months old, you already have a boyfriend that is not DNA tied to this kid. Do y'all understand how disgusting that is? You just gave birth, what, 5 months ago? And you already got your insides have not fully healed yet. What do they say? It takes like 6 to 8 weeks. You're talking about she's in a relationship by the time her womb should have healed in just under half of the time. And I'm assuming she was probably in this relationship probably maybe even before she had this kid. I don't know. It's really hard to say. But nonetheless, I do not believe that this man is the biological father. But nonetheless, according to a probable cause affidavit obtained by local CBS affiliate WHP, Sauter said that she dropped the girl on her head a few days before her death, which could explain the injuries. But the girl reportedly suffered a compound fracture in her right femur, along with broken ribs and a skull fracture. Additionally, the girl had traumatic injuries to her brain, neck, chest, and that's according to police. Since the injuries were in various forms of healing, let me say that again, in various forms, and I agree. Y'all said she's the epitome of a skank. Hey, look, I feel you. And you said, yes, I'm right about the 6 to 8 weeks, so I'm glad I'm not wrong about that. The injuries were in various stages of healing. Does anybody know what that actually means? Because I do. That means that these injuries happen at different times, and all of these injuries are very traumatic injuries, especially on basically a newborn baby. So there's no way one incident caused these multiple issues, these multiple incidents of various forms of healing, various stages of healing. And this according to police, so it's not my words. Police determined that this occurred on more than one occasion. Eventually, the mother Saunders admitted that she made up the story about dropping her baby, and said that the boyfriend, Melendez Padilla, was responsible for abusing the baby. Now, I know I asked you guys earlier, do we have anybody in here that is a apologist or somebody who supports people from coming here illegally into the United States and trying to make citizenship here while coming here illegally when we have a process for that? I'm just curious if we have any people who are all for like that fool that they are claiming that is a father in what was that, Maryland or Massachusetts, somewhere or whatever, over there in that area, and he got deported, right? And they're claiming that this man is an innocent father. He got wrapped up in this MS-13 crap. He's not really an MS-13 member, even though he was with a bunch of MS-13 people all the time. Those people are known for committing crimes, and they are now designated as a terrorist organization. So if you are a part of that organization or associated with that organization, and on top of that, you're here illegally, that you could get deported. We're going to talk politics here sometimes. Don't like it? This might not be the place for you. I'm just wondering if we have people who are apologists who are in my chat or watching the story, because there's a reason why I'm bringing that up. She said that the boyfriend, Melendez Padilla, was responsible for abusing the baby, according to police. She reportedly said that her boyfriend had been abusing the baby since late February. The mother, Saunders, says she avoided taking the girl to a checkup visit with the doctor because of her condition. So that means that the mother knew this was going on, knew that she took her baby to the Thug Zoo, and the Thug Lion, which is this man, mauled, murdered, and abused her kid, and she allowed it to happen, which means that she should face just as much time in prison as he does. We'll come back to that. Melendez Padilla, the boyfriend, admitted to some of the abuse, and a search of his text messages reportedly showed that he has a disdain for this child. He allegedly wrote that he hated the baby and did not want her to be part of their lives. Y'all want me to read what he wrote before I give my opinion? This man wrote, and I quote, "I hate that you've felt her for 8 effing months, a effing life that is not ours. I hate this feeling. I would love to love her, but I swear that I can't. He also reportedly suggested to his girlfriend that they put Ione up for adoption. Knowing that this is how this man felt about this child, and you still had a disregard for your own DNA tie of a child that you chose to bring in this world. That was your choice alone to lay there, accept semen, and conceive, go through with the pregnancy, carry out to term, and then turn around and not use safe haven, keep the baby for the benefits that that child will provide, hashtag babies for benefits. And then your boyfriend say this, and then you still keep the boyfriend with no regard for your own baby's human life. For that, I think you deserve a life sentence as well as this fool. Am I wrong for what I've said so far? If you want the title of a queen, there is a lot of responsibility that comes along with that, including the fact that you ultimately decide whether the birth of this child happens or not. I know that there are good mothers and good women in my chat that understand that. So why would anybody be against me excoriating this horrible piece of shit of a woman, an alleged mother? Why would you defend this? She was a victim. No, the freak she wasn't. They were abusers. This type of mentality can't be fixed. It just needs to be punished. On both sides. Can I get an amen? Thank you, Marie. Thank you. If y'all agree, just say amen and let's keep it trucking. This man wrote, I hate seeing her every day. Yes, she should be an accessory to murder. Because now this is premeditated. He's had time to think about this. That's the previous baby dad, by the way. We'll get to talking about him here in a minute. He wanted to be a father. Melendez Padilla, the boyfriend, also details some of the abuse he inflicted upon this little girl, this innocent little bitty baby. That's the biological father of that baby. And he did an interview. If y'all want to hear it, I'll play it. On March 22nd, the boyfriend reportedly said he hit the infant, causing her to go unconscious, and it required CPR. A few days later, Melendez Padilla, the boyfriend, noticed an apparent injury to the girl's leg. By the way, she has a much fatter right leg, the broken one, compared to the other, he reportedly wrote. At no point did either defendant seek medical care for the girl. The boyfriend reportedly searched Google and TikTok to study the girl's injuries and possible home remedies. Sodders, the mother, who deleted her text messages, told police she left her daughter alone with the boyfriend on the day of her death. Police arrested Sodders, the mother, on charges of third-degree murder. Should be maybe, I don't know how they get third. I know they got to charge her for what they can get a conviction for. I thought maybe second degree, but they're saying third. Third-degree murder, endangering the welfare of a child, conspiracy endangering the welfare of a child, tampering with evidence, and conspiracy tampering with evidence. The boyfriend stands accused of first-degree murder, which is premeditated, and the same child abuse charges and evidence tampering charges as his girlfriend. Investigators also learned that the boyfriend was an undocumented immigrant. Ta-ta-da-ta-da! Are y'all ready to talk politics? How many of y'all liked our previous president, Joe Biden, and your ex-vice president, Kamala Harris, for allowing these bitch niggas, these fucking disgusting creatures, baby murderers, enter our country? When we were told way prior that they're not, I'm going to put this in quotation marks, they are not sending their best and brightest. Y'all remember that? They are not sending their best and brightest to our country. This American citizen baby who had a father and a mother, this baby was killed By who? An illegal alien. How did they quote him? An undocumented immigrant. But you got some fools out here, some congressmen, some people out here, some people on the left, these Democrats who will go out there and go advocate for this man and say that he still deserves to be in this country. They will argue and fight for him, but will never speak the name Kei'mani. Kei'mani. They will never say this 4-month-old newborn baby's name. They will never put her face out there. You will never see a picture out there outside of the one that I put out there. And look how clear that is. Look how beautiful that is. I will say her name. Will you say her name? Kei'mani. Kei'mani. Will y'all say her name? Will her life matter? Will we get justice for her? When are we going to stop worrying about shit that don't matter? If it happens outside of the United States, if it penetrates the United States and destroys the United States, where you live, your kids, your grandkids, your babies' lives, your neighbors, your friends, your relatives, maybe when it hits your family, maybe you will change your mind and maybe it will start to matter. I get sick of this. Talk about the American dream while killing Americans. It makes me absolutely sick. I'm just glad we got a president that's strong enough to do something about it. Investigators also learned that he is an undocumented immigrant alien, bitch-ass punk, child abuser, murderer who shouldn't be in our country. I'm going to add that in there. I'm going to ad-lib that. According to police, he entered the country illegally in May of 2024. How about that? That was very recent. I bet. What y'all want to bet he probably can't even speak English? What y'all want to bet? How do we have people coming into our country and just say they give the middle finger to our language, our predominant language here? Like, we're not going to learn your language at all. Screw all y'all. Y'all need to adapt to us. He entered the country recently, 1 year ago, and was supposed to leave in August of 2024, but he stayed. He was also in possession of illegal identification cards, which is also breaking the law, breaking the law, breaking the law, breaking the law, breaking the law. Illegal identification cards, plural, breaking the law, breaking the law. And is facing charges related to that. Both are in the Dauphin County prison with no bond. They are scheduled to appear in court on Thursday. So I'm going to say, if you're going to aid and abet somebody who is an undocumented immigrant, an illegal immigrant, and somebody who is also here breaking the law, then you should also face charges for aiding and abetting criminals and maybe even be charged with terrorism. How about that? So Donald Trump, Pam Bondi, if y'all are out there listening, maybe people like this alleged mother should get some terrorism charges thrown in there too. But I digress.
Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107.
I think people like this should be sterilized and castrated, but that's just my personal opinion. Hashtag TTO, hashtag TTT. Y'all do me a favor, hit that thumbs up. Let me know what you guys think. If I'm wrong about this, just tell me where I am, what I'm saying that's factually inaccurate. All right. We got 2 news videos. Here we go. Let's get it.
A Harrisburg man is now charged with first-degree murder and other offenses in the death of his girlfriend's 4-month-old child. The mother, Layla Souders, is also charged with third-degree murder. According to these charging documents, 24-year-old Jose Melendez Padilla of Harrisburg physically abused the child, Ione Souders, since February, causing a compound fracture on her right leg and causing her to become unresponsive. Police were called to a home Friday on Wakefield Road in Susquehanna Township for a child in cardiac arrest and began this investigation. Police say additionally, through the investigation, they found Melendez Padilla was in the country illegally and in possession of illegal identification cards. Melendez Padilla and Souders are now both in Dauphin County Prison.
2 suspects in Dauphin County facing murder charges after the death of a 4-month-old baby. Police say that Jose Melendez Padilla assaulted the baby named Ione several times. And Ione's mother, Layla Souders, covered up those injuries, police say. Tonight, in an exclusive interview with CBS 21's Maxine Rose, the man claiming to be the baby's biological father says he's looking for answers.
I feel like I didn't do enough.
Wiki LaRoque says he was there for it all. The doctor's appointments, the gender reveal. He said the name Ione was even his idea. But before he even got to meet a baby he was ready to call his own, he now has to say goodbye.
We tried to build a family, and I guess it just wasn't what she wanted.
He says it's hard to believe his former girlfriend of 5 years, 20-year-old Layla Souders, is now in Dauphin County Prison for what police say was a cover-up. Police say Souders had known baby Ione had been abused for months by her now boyfriend, Jose Melendez Padilla.
She had her boyfriend act for her. I remember he had called me, and he was like telling me to stay away from him and the family, and that I should worry about myself and move on with my life. Oh yeah, she was for sure scared. Like, I know her. She was most definitely scared.
LaRoque's family tells us they never knew what was going on behind closed doors and was kept away from the baby. However, they do believe someone else knew.
I need to look into the parents ASAP. Now. Her mom especially.
So we called the grandmother. But within a few seconds, she hung up on us.
Maybe to them this is normal, but it's not normal. Abusing a 4-month-old baby is not normal.
I don't know, I feel like people think I was a deadbeat and I didn't want to be around a child when that wasn't the case. I actually did want to raise a kid and be around and be a dad, and I didn't get the opportunity to.
4-month-old baby is not normal.
Be around a child when that wasn't the case. I actually did want to raise a kid and be around and be a dad. A deadbeat, and I didn't want to be around a child when that wasn't the case.
4-month-old baby is not normal.
I don't know, I feel like people think I was a deadbeat and I didn't want to be around a child when that wasn't the case. I actually did want to raise a kid and be around and be a dad.
Y'all hear that? He actually wanted to be a father. She chose her illegal immigrant, alien, criminal, terrorist boyfriend. And guess what? Whatever him and her had that was so bad, I want y'all to want to crystallize this. Whatever they had was so bad that she would choose to allow her daughter to die and her probably go to prison for the rest of her life instead of just making it work with him. That's what she chose. That's literally what she chose. And I think to myself, like, was this man that bad? Maybe he wasn't thugging enough for you. Maybe he wasn't cute enough for you. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe he wasn't balling enough. Maybe he wasn't brazen or stupid enough. I just don't understand, like, why you would go that far in that direction to trade off a man who seemed like he'd be a decent father. Y'all seem pretty happy while you're pregnant in that, and then choose to allow your kid to die, and then you go to prison too. Strange to me.
Be around a child when that wasn't the case. I actually did want to raise a kid and be around and be a dad, and I didn't get the opportunity to.
LaRoque's family says they'll be hosting a vigil for that baby, and the date is not yet determined. Thank you, Maxine, for that report.
So at the end of the day, what I said might hurt some people's feelings, but I want y'all to just remember, keep the baby. Let me see if I could show her face again. Y'all keep this baby at the forefront of your thoughts. Before you comment towards me, before you leave me an email, people always ask me, what is my email? Do y'all know where my email is? It's literally below me all day, every day, right here. If people just can't see it, but it's always there. If you need to email me a story, always send me the news website article. No videos, but this angel deserved every opportunity to grow up and become something great. And here's what's funny. He wanted this child, the boyfriend wanted this child dead. So I always wonder, like, if you hear that, to protect your child, knowing that you're going to stay in a relationship with this dangerous criminal, this migrant criminal, why not give up custody of the baby to the biological father? Am I wrong for thinking that might be a sound choice to make? Give up custody to the biological father, therefore that you and your stinking ass boyfriend can ride off into the sunset together and go make some criminal migrant babies together, or whatever the hell it is that y'all plan on doing, growing up some little terrorists. I don't know what the hell they planning on doing, right? It's beyond me to understand why people would want to just completely just screw our system over and then still not follow it all, still do stuff illegal, and then kill little kids. But people want to have relationships with them. I don't get it. But nonetheless, y'all keep that father in your prayers for that little baby, young princess, Ayani, R.I.P. We pray for justice. If there are any more updates that come from this story, I'll definitely let you guys know. But again, if any updates come, we'll definitely do another update on this, okay? Thank you. Let's move on to story number 2. Her name is Lori Paige, Lori Paige, Paige. The search for Lori Paige ended in the woods of South Georgia. All that remained of the missing 12-year-old girl were 2 small bones. Now, what kind of life and death is that for an angel like this? For a princess like this? What did she do to deserve for this baby to lose her life like this and could have grown up to become anything? Could have been a huge difference maker in this world, and she deserved every opportunity to grow up and get there. That's all that remained of her. The discovery became the crucial piece of evidence that led to the arrest of her father after months of growing suspicion by the Tallahassee Police Department. So they already suspected the biological father in foul play. That fool. Detectives traced her disappearance to the underbrush of a wooded area in Thomas County, Georgia, and found her remains on April the 5th. So this was about 13 days ago, depending on when you're watching this, but in 2025, they just found some of her remains. The close of a case that has drawn intense community interest and even volunteer search parties was a mixed bag of emotions for police. Investigators were glad to bring closure to the family, but TPD Chief Lawrence Revel said in a Tuesday interview with the Tallahassee Democrat that it's always excruciating, I cannot talk today, excruciating to confirm the murder of a child. Again, 12 years old. There is a sadness, certainly, in proving what we thought to be true, Revel said. Anytime a 12-year-old is killed, there is great sadness, but there's pride in the work that was actually done. Now, Lori's father, this terrible individual, yes, Maureen, you are actually right on point. But we're going to get there. Let's talk about what this alleged human did. This alleged human by the name of Andrew Wiley, 36 years old, was arrested Friday and is facing a charge of second-degree murder. Revel said at a state attorney's office prepares for Wiley's trial, detectives have pretty much pursued every avenue and don't anticipate any more arrests at this time. Revel said that this case and Wiley's arrest sends the message to the community that TPD won't give up until justice is rendered. Recently released court records shine new light on the 22-month-old investigation, which detailed a troubled home life for the child involving likely abuse. An unredacted report inadvertently uploaded to the Kirk site noted that there was likely abuse of Paige occurring, which may have been of sexual nature. I get that they want to protect certain information, but I'm sorry. I'm actually glad to know that we were able to find out what this goddamn animal actually did to his own biological child. The real stuff, real unfiltered. I know that they have to protect certain information for whatever reason, maybe even for the integrity of the case, but I'm glad to know what we believe that he actually did, and I don't think he's going to be able to prove that he didn't. With her being 12 years of age, and maybe this even happening prior to that, guess what that would make him? Prepubescent, a pedophile. And you know the stigma that goes with people who go to prison, go to jail, who are marked as pedophiles. And I can only hope that all the bad things happen to him for what we believe in him participating in pedophilic behavior and the murder of his own daughter. They said, and I quote, there was likely abuse of Paige occurring which may have been of a sexual nature. A version released later redacted that detail. A TPD spokesman said it was done in accordance to Florida law that protects the identities of sexual assault victims. In a court appearance Saturday, Wiley was assigned a public defender. He has not yet issued a plea, but an online fundraiser on his behalf, which has since been taken down from GoFundMe, alluded to an unspecified untruth coming from Tallahassee police. I don't think I had that screenshot of the GoFundMe. Yes, I did. Actually, I did. Kinda. Yes, I did. I'm going to show you. But it's not real clear because it was taken down. Raising $100,000, Justice for Lori helped free Andrew Wiley. This is Andrew Wiley and his daughter Lori. Andrew has been falsely accused, and this is from somebody named Feda Wiley, or Feda, I think it's Feda, F-E-D-A, which will be Feda Wiley. I don't know if that page is still up or not. Andrew has been falsely accused and arrested for unaliving. I hate when they use them terms. Just call it what it is. Killing of Lori. There are lots of untruth coming from Tallahassee police and Lori's mother. Help us raise money for Andrew's defense and seek the truth for Lori and Andrew. At this time, our family will not be addressing all the lies, but they want your money. Isn't that funny? We will show the world the truth once we retain an attorney to help Andrew fight this battle with the devil. To defeat your enemies, sometimes you have to, wherever the hell it said. But they want the public to fund his defense. Actually, this was part of that fundraiser right here. $100,000 that they want from crowdfunding. But they flagged it down and took it down, rightfully so. The platform said administrators prohibit fundraisers for the legal defense of violent crimes. And I like that. That's good. I'm glad that that's there. But the one on his behalf aimed to raise $100,000 for his defense, not only to free Andrew, but to find the person who really murdered Lori to get her real justice. Putting handcuffs on Wiley was a moment months in the making for TPD investigators. Her father reported Lori who lived with him at the time, missing in June of 2023. Law enforcement exhausted numerous options over the months trying to locate her, including posting billboards in multiple states and conducting grid searches in the areas of West Tallahassee where she was last seen. Isn't that crazy how they make the public and everybody and the police and investigators go through all of this, and he knows exactly what the hell happened because he did it. Sending people on a wild goose chase knowing that his ass is lying. While the case saw intermittent, matter of fact, to those people who put up that GoFundMe, I would challenge them to come on to my platform. Email me at the afcmatters@gmail.com. Email address is right there. You want to tell your truth, but you wanted $100,000 to do it? How about you come on here and tell the truth now when money is not the motive? Speak on what's right now. I would encourage whoever that feeder person is or whatever the case is, or anybody else that knows what actually happened here or claim to knows what happened, even though they probably weren't there, to come onto my channel and tell me and tell the audience and tell the world what actually happened, rather than just saying but we got to get paid to do it. We got to collect funds to do it. While the case saw intermittent lulls with no new leads, multiple detectives keyed in on the father Wiley's behavior during interviews. They made note in his probable cause affidavit that he did not appear to be sad or concerned. His demeanor remained the same. On any occasion, he discussed Lori's disappearance with them. Revel said detectives checked and rechecked hundreds of leads, including multiple potential sightings of Lori in various cities and states that all turned up to be dead ends, no pun intended. It was following upon old leads that started to crank up the case. Evidence started to point in one direction, then you certainly started honing in on those inconsistencies that Wiley's story certainly had. According to the affidavit, Wiley began to mix up his story, contradicting information he previously provided in regard to various dates, his whereabouts, with whom he discussed Lori's disappearance. People that are telling the truth typically don't have problems retelling the truth, he added. People who are telling lies have a really hard time trying to keep them straight. As TPD acquired more warrants to search Wiley's phones, car, home, more evidence came to light that Wiley was a likely suspect. In February of 2024, search of Wiley's car, police found a loaded gun, car cleaning fluid, a cleaning brush, passenger seat upholstery, a cutout from the carpet, and more. Wow. Cutout carpet. The cleaner's description mentioned it's capable of cleaning blood. Detectives used bioluminescent spray that positively detected Lori's blood in various spots in the car that police said that he used to travel to Thomas County to dispose of her remains. Credit card transactions reveal that the day before he reported Lori's disappearance, Wiley purchased a one-way ticket to Puerto Rico out of Jacksonville International Airport. For unknown reasons, he never boarded the flight and returned to Tallahassee. Searches of his phone also rounded up queries of internet searches like, where do police look to find missing kids? Strange. And phone pings tracked his entire journey to Georgia, where he ultimately dumped Lori's body. The cell phone led detectives to a spot in the Georgia woods where Lori's remains were found. Revel said officers had searched there before, but it wasn't until a coincidental controlled burn cleared some of the underbrush that they were able to recover anything. Up until that point, circumstantially, TPD had everything they needed to make an arrest, but they wanted to make sure that a trial would end in a conviction. Police said that the discovery of the bones that matched her DNA were the final piece in the puzzle is what I'm trying to say. Getting a little tongue-tied. I think we can skip some of this. We could actually skip the rest of this. If you want to follow the rest of that article, Tallahassee.com has it. Where there's smoke, there's fire. And this man, I believe, is flat out guilty. So if any family members want to come out and dispute that, I'd love to hear your information.
Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107.
For anybody who wants to come on here and dispute what the police have presented, I'm just going to say, let's talk about his cell phone, the cleaning products, the cutout in the car, the blood in the car, and now they found this dead baby's bones, and the inconsistencies in his story. I'm just saying you have a lot to try to dispute in there if you're talking about we's going to bring out the truth. Of which part? I'd love to hear that. Y'all do me a favor, hit that thumbs up. Let's share this video, make the story go viral. Here we go. I'm going to shorten this. I'm not going to play all the news videos, but I'm going to keep it short.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Julie Montanaro. Jacob has the night off. Tallahassee police make a stunning announcement just 2 hours ago. Lori Paige's remains were found in Thomas County. She was last seen in 2023, and in the following days, weeks, and months, flyers and posters went up. The FBI raising the stakes on the search, putting up billboards and offering a reward. People all across the area asking the same question: where is Lori Paige? Today, we finally got some answers to that question. Our team coverage of Lori Paige's discovery, spearheaded by Abreu Ruffin and Matt Hoffman. Let's begin at TPD headquarters. Matt, break down what the police shared today.
Yeah, good evening, Julie. You know, this is a case that has made changes here at TPD headquarters when it comes to how they deal with missing children, and that case may now have a resolution. Tallahassee's police chief announcing criminal charges against Lori Paige's father, Andrew Wiley. In a hastily arranged press conference, TPD said they were able to locate Paige's remains after a controlled burn opened up an area known as the Plantation. A secondary search of that part of rural Thomas County, Georgia, this week led to the remains.
Lori deserves a safe home and a full life. While today's arrest will never bring her back, it does bring us one step closer to justice.
Paige's case has gripped Tallahassee and many who have followed her case online since her disappearance in 2023. Police said that while her father had always remained a suspect, they didn't have enough evidence until the crime lab was able to confirm her remains this week following that search. Wiley is now charged with second-degree murder. The case will now proceed to court where the allegations haven't yet been tested.
I'm Mayor Sargent in northwest Tallahassee. This is near where Lori Paige was last seen on June 3rd, 2023, the same day her father reported her missing. Friday, TPD announced that Paige's remains had been found and her father had been arrested in relation to her death. Neighbors share the impact this news is having on this community on the day Paige would have been turning 14 years old. A community that wants to be proactive as they remember 12-year-old Lori Paige.
We really all adopted Lori, and certainly we want to make sure that we continue to heal. And how do we do that? Continue to come together.
The news shocking the community of many who have been involved in search efforts for Paige.
I had to leave work early because, you know, in a lot of our hearts we were hoping.
Still shocked, to tell you the truth, that some of us are lost for words.
The Tallahassee Police Department announced Friday Paige's remains had been found.
After a comprehensive and exhaustive 22-month investigation into the disappearance of 12-year-old Lori Paige, the Tallahassee Police Department has arrested her father, 36-year-old Andrew Wiley, on the charges of second-degree murder.
Now, Pastor Rudy Ferguson wants to start an initiative to both remember Lori and ensure protections for the community's children.
Get back to that sense of your child is my child. You know, you live in my community, you live next door to me, so we are a community, we are neighbors, and we need to operate as a neighborhood.
Organisations that work to protect children say those pillars of support are key in ensuring child safety.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Julie Montanaro.
And I'm Jacob Murphy. We're sitting down one-on-one with Tallahassee's police chief, Lawrence Revel, just days after he announced an arrest in the disappearance and death of missing 12-year-old Lori Paige.
Her father, Andrew Wiley, is now charged with her murder. Our Stacey Inez is live at TPD headquarters right now. And Stacey, you had a chance to have an extended conversation with the chief today. What did he say about this 2-year-long case?
So you're asking why is it second degree? Because with first degree, you have to prove that this was planned out, it was premeditated. And if you cannot absolutely get that, it's really, really hard to get first degree. So you have to just take it a step down. So hopefully that answers your question. But good question. Very, very good question. Because I actually do believe that this was premeditated.
Well, Julie, the chief says they are, on one hand, glad to hopefully bring some closure to the family in terms of finding her. But he says as for the father, family are often considered suspects in these types of cases. So he says when the father's story began falling apart, that's when they really began to hone in on the possibility of a murder charge.
There's certainly the sadness in confirming what we believe to be true. There's always still the sadness that a 12-year-old child was killed.
Tallahassee Police Chief Lawrence Revel reflects on the past week since announcing Lori Paige's remains were found in South Georgia, ending a nearly 2-year search spanning multiple states.
There was always the hope and the expectation that you were going to find something.
He says while they developed evidence pointing to Lori's father, Andrew Wiley, more than a year ago, they did not want to make an arrest without finding her body.
A lot of times we look at it, hey, we've got probable cause, we can make an arrest, you know. But the state attorney has to look at it from not only do we have probable cause, but how likely are we to get a conviction on this? Because we don't want to try this and not get a conviction and then find out evidence later that he did do it, and now you can't, because of double jeopardy, you can't try him again.
When Lori first disappeared in June 2023, she was originally classified as a runaway, a practice Chief Revel says his department will not use again.
Because it brings additional connotations into the discussion that just don't need to be part of the discussion. You know, again, that classification, while unnecessary and we don't use it anymore, didn't hamper this investigation.
Tallahassee pastor Rudy Ferguson was one of a few community members who were vocal throughout the entire search for Lori.
That could have been mine. That could have been my grandchild, could have been my daughter, or my next door neighbor's child.
He says he's still trying to process Lori's death and her father's arrest after meeting him multiple times.
I was more concerned that he wasn't as emotional and worried as I would have been as a father. In that time of talking to him, I was still supportive that he was a father. He didn't know how to process this. But as time went on, 30 days and 60 days, and his response to me was still the same. It began to worry me.
Now he's looking forward, hoping to help prevent situations like this in the future.
We just got to figure out how do we become a better community and how do we pay attention to the trauma situations that surround us every day.
Now, as for the investigation, Chief Revel says it's still ongoing, and investigators haven't yet determined the cause of death for Lori. Her father remains in jail without bond. For now, live in Tallahassee, Stacey Inez, WCTV.
So again, I'm glad that some of the information that we now know now because of that unredacted report from the courts. So it was good to at least know that, at least for our comfort. It's not really comforting to know, but I just think it is. We want details. We were able to get some details and what this baby actually suffered through. So for that, this man's soul is required in hell as soon as possible. So as quickly as we can expedite that, that'd be awesome by way of the laws of the land. You know, if you could put him up in front of a firing squad, which is actually a real possibility when it comes to the death penalty, I think he's earned that. I think he deserves that. So he'll have his day in court and we'll go from there. So the more that we find out, we'll definitely talk about it. We'll do another update and hopefully get a conclusion to the story. Lori Paige, young princess. Let me see if I get a better picture of her up here. R.I.P. I wish this angel had a father that was actually worth something. Okay. But as far as the mother, we haven't heard from the biological mother. If we hear from any of the family members, we'll definitely post it, share it, let you guys know, okay? Thank you guys so much for listening to our story. Stuck, it's okay.